billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhaira gale ni hao jure shumme washmale. Ohio gozaimas. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privet. Kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaba. Buna. Mucho gracias. Fabi aballi kare aaya. Hoş geldin and I was saying khuyamora chivatto chi haljod kalimera khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into Pakistan TV and are watching World this morning. First things first, ladies and gentlemen, to all of those Muslims who are out there, Jummah Mubarak. I happen to be Shahzad Khan. With me, I'm really lucky. I've been joined by my wonderful colleague who is Miss Eesha, Rehan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your morning with us. But first things first, obviously, I think I'm so full of energy today that it's really hard for me, or I'm finding it hard for myself to keep myself just stuck to the sofa. But first things first, hello Eesha, Assalamu alaikum. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad. I feel absolutely great, absolutely phenomenal as always. And today is a very, very beautiful, the blessed day of Friday. We celebrate this day as Muslims. We go to Jummah, we pray. This is a reminder for everyone to stay strong on their Muslim brotherhood and be kind to all the people, not just Muslims, to all the people around you. Exactly. And you know, Shahzad, like you said, you are filled with energy. So we're excited to get started with today's segment. Some stories I have brought, some stories Shahzad has brought, and I think we should get started with the first highlight of the day.
Go ahead.
All right, so let's talk about this first story that we're going to be telling you is regarding friendship, promises and prosperity between two nations, and that is Poland and Pakistan. So Poland's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Radzislaw Sikorski visited Pakistan for 2 days at the invitation of Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar. During a high-level talks in Islamabad, both countries agreed to expand cooperation in trade, energy, defense, education, counter-terrorism, science and technology, and much, much more. Currently, Pakistan and Poland's bilateral trade stands at over $1 billion, with both sides acknowledging that there's a lot more potential to tap in. Two memorandums of understanding were also signed. Dar also highlighted Pakistan's historic bond with Poland, recalling Polish refugees who were sheltered in Karachi and Quetta during World War II, Polish pilots and engineers who helped build the Pakistan Air Force and independence. I think this is of a lot of significance since Poland is now a $1 trillion economy. It's going to highlight how Pakistan is going to reach its efforts for peace and prosperity across the world.
Exactly, and you know, as of now, Eesha, we actually share a $1 billion trade with Poland as well. And you know, the Deputy Prime Minister, it's the second visit. The first time that he visited Pakistan was in 2011, July. We will be speaking about it in detail as well. But now coming back to my subject, that's certainly sports, and in sports it's cricket. And in cricket, we will be talking about how Babar Azam has been brought back to the T20 international squads just ahead of the series that we are about to play against South Africa. Now, the question over here is, why was Babar dropped in the first place before going for the Asia Cup? And now the question is, why is Babar back in the squad? Because in between this time, there was no domestic T20 cricket setup which was going on, and that you say that, you know, that's because of Babar's performance, which has gone up well, and the modern day cricket that we have always been beating the bush about. How does it actually make sense? So we would certainly want to kind of speak about that as well. And then in the last segment, it's a very important day, because ladies and gentlemen, it happens to be the United Nations Day today. It's the 24th of October. Back in 1940s, the United Nations actually came into being. And not just that, I think what we will do is that we will speak about United Nations role and how it did really make sure you know, that the world actually needs to come together. But my point over here is that for all the member states or countries, what they were supposed to do was that they were supposed to have a holiday today. It's not certainly a holiday. What does that make of it? So we will be in conversation, you know, with the UN Resident Humanitarian Coordinator over here in Pakistan. He'll be joining us over here in the studios. So there's quite a lot on the other side. Please make sure that you stay tuned with us. We are World This Morning, and we will be right back after a short break. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's a blessed Friday morning over in Islamabad, and while I was driving to work, it felt like as if I just wanted to be under the sun and, you know, kind of
Soak in the vitamin D.
Soak with the vitamin D, or probably just bask under the sun, have a cup of coffee, and that's it. But I do know for a fact that how there's a shared responsibility in between me and Eesha, where we have to be over here and make sure that we open this window to the rest of the world and let them know what's happening away in Pakistan, what's happening globally, for the people who actually reside within Pakistan. Now, very quickly, in the first highlight, we did mention how we will be talking about that on the invitation of the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, Mr. Shahzad, the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, actually made his way to Pakistan. And what I would want to do is, obviously, we have seen how there's been security issues, how there have been skirmishes on the border with Afghanistan as well. First things first, what I would want to do is that I would want you to kind of hear how the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland actually spoke to Pakistan television, what he had to say, and then we'll build up further, because we have a fantastic guest over here inside the studios to shed some light on that. Let's go, let's take a listen.
I've been to Afghanistan many times. They were making progress already under King Zahir in the 60s. Then there was an attempt at forced modernization under dictatorship under the communist regime. Then there was the Soviet invasion, and then civil war, as you know. And we went in for 20 years, and several million Afghan girls received education and could be forgiven for imagining that their country would now treat them well.
Right.
And to now take people back to their houses and to deny them education is almost, or the prospect of having a normal job is almost worse than not having it in the first place.
Absolutely.
So I really feel for Afghan women who, it was courage to be an Afghan journalist or a policeman or a pilot, and it's a tragic circumstance. And of course, we call on the Taliban government to respect the undertakings that they made at the time of the negotiations, that the position of women would not be degraded.
Right.
Of course, they've broken them. I've been to Afghanistan.
All right, we can see how the Polish Deputy Prime Minister talked about how Afghanistan and Pakistan need to establish bilateral ties and make sure that there's peace between the region. He spoke very, very accurately regarding this, but let's speak about his visit to Pakistan on the invitation of Deputy Prime Minister Shahzad. They talked about energy, defense, cooperation in education, and much more. And to speak more about this historic event that took place, we actually have a very honorable guest in our studio today. She happens to be the former ambassador, Naela Chohan. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Wonderful to have you over here.
Yeah,
Thank you. A very good morning to you and from you to your audience and your...
Thank you so much, and for bringing such great energy on the show as always. So Foreign Minister Shahzad mentioned that Pakistan and Poland share a very positive trajectory in ties with over $1 billion in trade. Please enlighten us more about this.
Well, Pakistan and Poland enjoy a very strong relationship, although we are not located in the same geographic region as the Polish Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister said. But we have been working closely together. You might be aware that after World War II, a lot of Polish people had taken refuge in Pakistan. So we have those bonds of friendship since then, and they know how hospitable we are. And Mr. Sirosky has also worked in this region as a journalist. He was covering the Afghan war, the Soviet invasion, so he knows the region well. So when he spoke about it, he understood the problems of border that we have, and they were also having it with Russia-Ukraine issue. But the important thing is that this was his first visit after 2011.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of development in both the countries. We must bear in mind, Poland is very good in mining. They have one of the largest coal reserves. They have the largest salt mines, and we also have salt mines. We have also coal. So he spoke of mining, where we can work together from their experience, from their technology. Then education, There were MOUs signed. We have a bilateral political consultation process between the two countries, but now they're going to regularize it. And also there was a MOU between the Institute of Strategic Studies and the Polish think tank, so that intelligentsia also gets involved, because when you are located at a distance, you have to create more awareness amongst the people through these public opinion makers, like scholars, like people like yourselves, and of course the think tanks.
Exactly, and we will certainly come down to people-to-people connections. But this visit obviously certainly has taken place after 2011, and you've mentioned yourself quite a lot of things have changed. May it be in Poland or in Pakistan,
Both.
may them be politically, economically, or people-to-people connections. How do you think that because it is being labelled as a significant milestone, how do you think that it signifies for Pakistan's broader foreign policy goals?
Well, Pakistan's foreign policy goal, as you have also been mentioning in your programs, that Alhamdulillah 2025 has been very successful
Shukr
for Pakistan, Alhamdulillah. And you have achieved so much in it, because as they say, you have your head on your shoulders. So you were looking in the right directions and working in the right way. Poland supported our candidature for UN Security Council, which he had Mr. Mutsarowski also mentioned in his interview. And we support each other at multilateral fora. We support each other on many issues of common interest. Of course, our position on Palestine is different, because his position is of the EU position. So while they recognize Palestine, they do not, go further than that, but we have to, because you know how the issue is. Other than that, we have a lot of commonality of interest internationally and regionally. So it was a very important visit.
Exactly, which is why at this point of time, this is one thing that I would want to kind of ask you, and you're the perfect person to answer this. Now imagine that we have now, alhamdulillah, since you mentioned 2025 and the diplomatic ascent that we have seen, all because of the leadership, the civil leadership, the military leadership, the Honorable Prime Minister, the Field Marshal himself. Now let's speak about how we have shared good ties with, in recent times, United States of America. China has been an ironclad brother, Turkey, Jordan, Egypt, all the Middle Eastern countries, and now Pakistan is moving towards Europe. So how do you think that, for Pakistan to extend so much of diplomatic infrastructure, or the diplomatic ascent that we witnessed in recent times, will benefit Pakistan because of the efforts that they have made at a diplomatic front? Wow.
A very good question. I can't answer in one breath like you asked in one breath.
Sure.
But the infrastructure was always there.
Okay.
It's always the leadership that gives you the vision. So while infrastructure was there, it was not being utilized the way it could have been. Now you're seeing the results, because, as I said, your head, which is your leadership, is in the right direction. Pakistan is benefiting from it. You can see he even spoke of immigration. He said legal immigration is welcomed. There are more than 2,000 students in Warsaw University.
Yes.
And he welcomed students to come there too, which is a very nice development, because our students are looking for opportunities abroad. North America is very expensive. So Eastern Europe, what you would say, olden Eastern Europe, but of course now they're part of EU, is a very promising place. And he also cautioned against illegal immigration, because there were a lot of immigration rackets that go via Ukraine, Russia, and down to East Europe, and then down to Spain and onwards.
Definitely.
So we need to work together to curtail that, because that has a negative impact on our image abroad, but at the same time enhance educational cooperation, technology cooperation, more women in technology.
Definitely.
Because he was talking about how they worked on Afghan women. Pakistani women are very smart, very techno-savvy, and if they're given opportunity and experience from different parts of the world, it will enrich Pakistan.
Exactly, you've highlighted that so accurately. And on this point, let's talk about how the Polish foreign minister proposed collaboration in fintech, water management, mining, and energy. And Poland is already investing in Pakistan through oil and gas company, which is established in Pakistan. So, how significant is this, and how can we attract more investment, given the fact that Poland is now a $1 trillion economy?
Yes, you rightly mentioned it. And once it is successful, then more will come, because Poland is now part of EU. So more EU members will be attracted in this. We already have a good relationship with EU. We have a mission in Brussels that works with EU Secretariat, but working with member countries also is equally important. And explaining to them our position, what happened in Pahalgam, what is Pakistan's position, and how we are working at the UN. All these aspects are very important, and working one-to-one, you know, he could also see how Pakistan has changed from when he was here in 2011.
Exactly. Now, I think what is of utmost importance, and somebody really needs to kind of speak about it, so, you know, with my head on the shoulders, I'm going to ask you this. So what happens is that, you know, obviously there's no comparison when we speak about economies, and US is a far more bigger and better economy, but when they go to the Middle East countries, they come back with $14 trillion, right? So now if Pakistan is on a diplomatic ascent, and if we want to speak about, you know, how certain memorandum of understandings have taken place, first of all, they really need to come to life. Number two, you know, $1 billion trade is probably something that we really need to kind of build up on, you know, take it to $15 billion, 20, 25, 40, 50, and take as much as advantage of our friendly relations with all of those countries that we're working with. Why do you think that we've not been able to tap onto that, you know, where you take advantage of being a diplomatic associated friend?
Well, that's a very painful question to ask, because we have unfortunately become a consumer society. We have less focus on production.
True.
The current government has taken a few, you know, measures to enhance our productivity, but until we, you know, transition from purely consumer society to a medium society which consumes and produces, you can then enhance, you can make it tangible.
True.
But if you're not producing much and nothing value added, then you have a issue.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, you've highlighted that very, very accurately. And on this point about how Pakistan is keep reaching new heights on the diplomatic ascent that we have, we talked about how this meeting took place after such a long time, right, all the way back in 2011. But now the next meeting is scheduled for 2026,
yes.
and it's very close by. What does this speak about Pakistan's foreign policy?
Well, it speaks about Pakistan's foreign, but Pakistan's foreign policy has always been very good, because we followed what Azam had said. We have been following those guidelines, and you can see from the time of our independence how we helped the African countries in their independence, be it Morocco, Tunisia. You know, we even gave them our passports to go to UN to present their case. Similarly, we have been very active in Asia. We have been very active in Europe. We have been active in North America, and now you can see President Trump has validated us, because we were rather modest on how many aircrafts we had shot down, but he was very candid about it, and he reiterated, I think, more than 25 times. So those who had any doubt can now accept it, that this is what happened. So Alhamdulillah, Pakistan's foreign policy has been very successful. You can see how we behaved in UN, in New York, how we work in Geneva, how we work in Vienna, how we work in Nairobi, where UN headquarters are, because there are 4 headquarters of the UN. And other than that, bilateral relations, regional, we are also trying to revive SAARC. We are talking about China, Pakistan, Bangladesh to work together also. We are working in SCO, we are working in ECO, we are working in OIC, we are sectoral partners with ASEAN. We are trying to become dialogue partners, but for that we have to increase our productivity. So Pakistan has been working everywhere in many directions, but as you said before, it's the leadership that gives that, you know,
Big push.
impetus.
Exactly. And one last question before we wrap it up, because you've actually explained it beautifully well. You know, how Pakistan has been almost at every front, you know, leaving behind nothing, you know, so making sure that Pakistan as of now is a head turner, shukr alhamdulillah, that we are alive to actually witness these times. But very quickly, because the Pakistani Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Shahzad, Foreign Minister, actually did remind the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland that, you know, how in post-World War II, you know, the refugees came in the then, you know, obviously now it's Pakistan, but the then Quetta and Karachi. How do you think it should influence modern diplomacy? And how do you think, for example, because you happen to be former ambassador, all of these, you know, shared memories or historical perspectives come in very handy when you're sitting down with somebody and be like, you know, just like in Pakistan, we sit down with somebody, हाँ जी, आप किधर से हैं या तुसी कित्थों हो? So if we share the same place, you know, there's already diplomacy at 100%. So how do you think it should influence modern diplomacy?
Well, you see, the Polish ambassador here is also a very capable diplomat. He has been working on it also. He is a good friend, so we often talk about it, that how he's tapping on all these Polish diaspora, but obviously Pakistanis, to become bridges between Pakistan and Poland. So I commend him. He's very good at his job, and our ambassador in Poland also is working very hard. So it's the synergy that we need to work on, and then these people become your ambassadors. We have lesser Pakistanis in Poland, very limited number, more students. So students are good because they are smart, they are educated, they are learning the language.
They can
So
adapt.
and they are articulate also.
True.
So they can share Pakistan's perspective with the audience there. So it's a bridge.
It's a shared responsibility.
It's a shared responsibility.
Exactly. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Naela Chohan, for being with us. Wonderful to be in conversation with you. Not just that, you know, obviously it was the Polish pilots who actually did help us, you know, about Pakistan Air Force in the initial days to set up our Air Force as well.
Yes.
And there are 2,000 Pakistanis in Poland as of now. Quarter of them happen to be students. And it's a great day for Pakistan. Pakistan's diplomacy, we're doing pretty well.
May I add
Sure,
one thing?
sure,
When you
sure,
spoke
sure.
of pilots, they did an excellent event here last year when Polish pilots came and they did, you know, they went to the peaks, our mountains. And it was a very good Pakistan's publicity event.
Wow.
And it was reviving how the Polish pilots had come to revive our Air Force.
Wow, I
That's
think it
wonderful.
brings back so much of nostalgia as well. Thank you so much for being so kind and always taking our time for World This Morning in Pakistan TV. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bid her farewell. Thank you so much. You know, have a great day. And for people who are out there, we're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere, because when you come back, we're talking about how Babar Azam makes
Made
it
a
back to
comeback.
the T20 international squad. But why and how and why was he dropped are the questions. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Thank you, madam.
Welcome. Thank you. All right, welcome back to all the lovely people who stayed tuned. And if you just joined in, you are still watching World This Morning on Pakistan TV. I happen to be Eesha, and he happens to be Shahzad Khan, the one and only. And this segment is going to be all about sports and the wonderful progress that Pakistan is making. First things first, I think Shahzad has some exciting stories to share with us.
Exactly. You know, I mean, it's not really exciting for Pakistani people, and it's because of the fact that South Africa actually secured a commanding 8-wicket victory over Pakistan in the second test at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium on the fourth day of the match, leveling the two-match series 1-1. The victory is the Proteas team's first victory in the test cricket on Pakistani soil since 2007. Chasing a target of 6 years, South Africa reached the mark for the loss of 2 wickets. Pakistan posted a strong first innings total of 333 runs
In reply, South Africa scored a massive 404 runs in their first innings. For Pakistan, Asif Afridi bagged 6 wickets. Pakistan were bundled out for 138 after losing 6 wickets in the morning session on day 4, setting a target of 68 against South Africa. 6 of the Pakistani batters could not manage to enter double figures. Only Babar Azam remained the top scorer with 50 runs. He smashed 7 fours. Unfortunate for us that we lost the game.
Oh no.
I mean, we should have, yeah, because we had to take advantage
We did.
of the home conditions. But not just that, Pakistani fighter wins, and that's exactly something that I would want to share. It's a good news for people who are out there. In a thrilling contest held in Dubai, Pakistan's mixed martial arts fighter Rizwan Ali defeated his Indian rival Rana Pratap Singh with a decisive knockout in the first round. The national fighter maintained his unbeaten record, extending his winning streak to 11 consecutive victories. Following the victory, Rizwan Ali was awarded a cash prize of rupees 5 million. UFC champion Khamzat Shamaev attended the event as a special guest and personally congratulated Rizwan Ali after the fight. Rizwan Ali expressed his determination to soon compete in the UFC, aiming to become the first Pakistani fighter to participate in the prestigious championship.
All right, a big congratulations to Rizwan Ali. May you keep reaching new heights and reaching your goals and keep defeating your opponents and making Pakistan's name proud and shining our name.
Which is why, you know, I would want to speak about hockey too as well, you know, if you may allow.
So many news. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, you know, so the government has actually decided not to send Pakistan's junior hockey team to India for the upcoming Junior Hockey World Cup, citing security concerns, which they are right. The Pakistan Hockey Federation conveyed the decision to the International Hockey Federation following a high-level consultative meeting.
Exactly. You know, all our sports persons, all our sports people in Pakistan are very valuable to us. So if we feel like there is security issues and concerns, we want to keep our assets safe, and we hope and pray that...
And we would certainly not want to send our children or players to places where people are not even ready to shake hands. I think this actually creates a very hostile environment for our players to be in, which is why it's a no-no.
Exactly.
All right, and last but not the least,
All
I'm going to speak about the Asian Youth 2025, where Pakistan's volleyball team has reached the semi-finals of the 3rd Asian Youth Games 2025 in Bahrain after a strong 3-0 win over Uzbekistan in the quarterfinals. Pakistan won the sets 25-13, 25-20 and 25-18 with solid teamwork and key performances from Mohamed Yahya, Mohamed Anas, Muttahid Ali Shah and Khizar.
All right, congratulations to all the players who played the successful volleyball matches. And it's such a fascinating sport to see because the team coordination matters a lot. And we keep hoping that they keep winning new matches as well.
Exactly, and Pakistan will actually be playing next against Saudi Arabia in the classification match tomorrow before the semi-finals. But that's it, you know, for the sports updates. But let's speak about what the Pakistan Cricket Board has been thinking lately. It looks like as if they do not have any sort of clarity. That's my opinion. But we do have a sports analyst with us, and I would want to ask him this question. So, Mohamed Abbas, hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum salam. Shahzad, how are you?
Abbas, certainly I would want the same energy to come back to me, you know, so that we stay in the same mood, both of us. Hello, Abbas, assalamu alaikum. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum salam. Shahzad, how are you? How's everything?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Abbas, you do know that the T20 international squad has been announced. You know, the one-day international squad has been announced while the game was going on right early in the morning, just yesterday. And it looks like as if they brought back all of those players which they thought cannot play modern-day cricket. So, you play cricket, what happening?
Even I was shocked, I mean, because a test match, a test match goes on and you suddenly announce the ODI captain, Shaheen Shah Afridi. For me, the biggest shock was that if you go through his track record, he has won the titles. I'm not taking credit away from him, but he's won the titles for Lahore Qalandar as a T20 captain. Not to forget that he had around 3 to 4 captains playing under him. So obviously he had learnt a lot of things as time passed on. But when you talk about the ODI cricket, that's a different format. Getting him as a captain over here, first thing which comes into your mind, even my mind, is that for how long? Is it that he's going to be a captain for 2027 World Cup, or is just for this series? Because that's the biggest question which every player, every captain has in his mind when he plays for Pakistan, the instability what we talk about. And it has been, because when you talk about even the T20 squad or the ODI squad being announced right now, unfortunately, West Sufyan Mukim, what's the issue with him? I mean, why he's not part of the T20 squad? When you talk about Irfan Khan Niazi, one of our gun fielders and a guy who's performed well with the bat, who was the captain for Pakistan Shaheens, where even Faisal Akram performed for Pakistan. Why is he not the part of the T20 side or ODI side? Because he was one of your prospects, what everyone was looking after. Tayyib Tahir was in the middle order. Why he's not part of the ODI side? So there are many things. Even Nawaz, I would say. So there are many things going on. It's really a worrying sign for me when you talk about the selection thing going on in Pakistan. Is it the Pakistan team which we are preparing for the T20 World Cup or for the 2027 ODI World Cup, or it's just for a sake of that playing three T20s or three ODI series, and we'll see what goes after that.
Exactly. I hope that you can hear me. Can you hear me, Abbas?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, yeah, because I was talking in between, it looked like as if you could hear me. Abbas, thank you so much for highlighting all of these points. Now, specifically, okay, I will come back to the captaincy bit of it. I will come back to Sufyan Mukim. I will come back to all of this. But specifically, as of now, I would want to speak about Babar Azam. Now, the question that I'm going to put over here is that it looks like as if there is no clarity. Imagine that when we had to announce our squad, you know, for the series that we were playing before the Asia Cup and then Asia Cup, you know, Mike Hassan, the white ball coach, said that Babar is not in our plans because he cannot play modern day cricket, and if he improves his strike rate, he might be coming back to the team. Unfortunately, we have been defeated in Asia Cup. You know, we lost to India 3 games, and we do know what sort of a campaign we had. So even if we have played the final of the Asia Cup, we weren't really a good team in Asia Cup, unfortunately. Now, what or how do you think sense is going to prevail when we say, because in between all this time, there was no domestic season going on for T20 internationals, there was no league games taking place, and all of a sudden, now when the squad is being announced, Babar Azam comes back with the same way that he was playing earlier. It's not the modern day cricket now, it's not even the strike rate. You know, so where is that clarity with the team management?
That's the thing I'm saying on Shahzad, when you talk about the head coach, I mean, he needs to understand one thing, that this is not an Islamabad United team, it's a Pakistan national team. I mean, whatever things he wanted to implement over here, what I feel is that it's about the league structure, what is in his mind, and he's implementing for the Pakistan team, and that did not work. I mean, it's unfortunate because when we speak about the Pakistan team, we do criticize the players, but there's no one to question basically the people sitting behind the doors. I mean, specifically the selection committee. What are they doing? I mean, you have got the Qaid Azam Trophy right now going on. Unfortunately, when you talk about Babar Azam, but why am I highlighting is because when you talk about your backup players, from where will you get a backup player when on in the Qaid Azam Trophy? I've never seen a selection committee guy sitting and watching a match over there so he can get a breakdown of the players, like what performance against what team a player is doing and what backup player we can get. Secondly, about Babar Azam, I remember many of even across the media, I would say in social media, when we lost the Asia Cup, it was a T20 tournament. Everyone started to speak out that we don't have a consistent player in the middle order who can actually build up the innings for you. So we need to have Babar Azam back in the squad. Why is it? Because we have not prepared our bench lineup. But that's the point where I say that you need to work on a domestic structure. Everyone speaks about domestic structure. Why does not anyone speak about the under 19 cricketer where a player grooms himself to a senior level? We don't focus that because it's not our priority. We focus more on T20s, we focus more on league cricket so we can get some players from there, and that players are just for 3 or 4 matches. They are not that players who are basically polished to get places of a big player like Babar Azam in the middle order who can sustain the innings. That's the reason I said Kamran Ghulam was a brilliant choice for you. Where is he? I mean, he's just vanished. I mean, I know one bad series, he's vanished. Secondly, if you talk about Tayyib Tahir, one of the batsmen in the
I totally get your point. Wes, I totally get your point. I think it's my producer who kind of shuts my mic because I would want to kind of interject a point every time. But very quickly, one last thing. You know, just say yes or no. Do you think that the squads that we've announced now for T20 International or One Day International are good squads?
No, I mean, for me, it's not a good squad. I mean, again, but one thing for me, Shahzad bhai, I guess you would agree with me. Right now, it's the T20's team because you have got the T20 World Cup coming up. How many chops and changes will we do? I mean, other teams are ready. They have got like 6 months plan. This is the playing 11 for them. For us, it's still the circus goes on. I mean, who's going to be the opener? Who's going to play in the middle order? For me, the squad is not the one which could have been for the T20 side.
Exactly,
right,
which
Abbas.
certainly does not make us really very happy as fans of the cricket. But thank you so much, Avaz, for your key insights on to how the team really needs to plan for the World Cup, which is just ahead, starting February 2026. We're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere, because when you come back, we are celebrating and observing the United Nations Day. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning.
All right, welcome back to all the lovely people who stayed tuned. In this segment, we are going to be discussing about a very pertinent topic, which is the United Nations Day, which is being celebrated today on 24th October. It is celebrated every year, and it highlights the symbol of peace, prosperity, and promises that the United Nations upholds. It has been 80 years since the beginning of the United Nations. They have played an integral role in maintaining peace across the globe and a vital role in supporting the development and humanitarian responses. We do, exactly. And to speak more about this, we actually have the one and only UN President and humanitarian coordinator of the United Nations in Pakistan. He happens to be Mohamed. Yahya, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Oh, Juma Mubarak.
Yep.
And happy UN Day.
Okay.
Which is why let's get started with that. You know, what is UN Day and how significant it is for the world and the members of the United Nations to celebrate and observe it?
So the UN Day, 80 years today, the world got together after the rubble from the Second World War and the conflicts that devastated the world. And we got together with a sense that if we are to agree with basic tenets and basic what we call the UN Charter, and a basic value that we share around the world, then we can ensure that we don't have another world war, that people can coexist peacefully, and we can develop. So those are the tenets of the UN, what we call the UN Charter, the Declaration of Human Rights, and the economic and social rights. So we're celebrating our common humanity, our common values, and this is why the UN Day is so important today.
You've highlighted that very, very beautifully, and you spoke about how it has been 80 years since the United Nations has been formed. How do you think it stays relevant in today's complex society?
So last night we had a reception with Deputy Prime Minister, the Senate Chair, to celebrate the UN Day, and the Deputy Speaker. And one of the things I said in that is that we may be 80, but our values, our norms on who we are has not aged a day. If you look at what the UN Charter says, that every person has a right to equality, to dignity, that each individual matters, that we have rights enshrined in in terms of human rights, but also we have a right to economic and social rights. And we have a right to live in a peaceful environment. And this is what the world has committed to 80 years ago. Obviously, it hasn't been 100% perfect. We know the conflicts that are going on around the world. But if you look at the totality of the world, the UN's norms and values has maintained and avoided another world war. We haven't had a world war since 80 years. That's true. And this is what the UN was created to avoid.
Exactly. I will come back to this in the later,
I know you were coming back.
later part of the show. But because we are celebrating United Nations and the key role that it has actually been playing, and thank you so much for highlighting that. Let's speak about Pakistan's affiliation with the United Nations, and how would you enshrine Pakistan's role in making sure that that whatever initiatives have been taken, maybe to avert war or the economic initiatives, socio-economic initiatives, how much do you think Pakistan has contributed?
I'm glad you asked this, because Pakistan and the UN, we have a very close relationship. I always say that Pakistan has provided both the software and the hardware of the UN.
Exactly.
And let me explain to your viewers what that means. The software is the ideas, what enshrined in the Declaration of Human Rights, enshrined in the norms of, for example, many people probably don't know this.
One of Pakistan's.
Yeah, Pakistan was responsible for articles in the Declaration of Human Rights that bans child marriage. It was a Pakistani delegate that put that. Creation of UNICEF, a Pakistani idea, and ensure that UNICEF exists and protects children. The Human Development Index, Mahbubul Haq, Pakistani idea. So there's so much of Pakistan fingerprints around the UN values. So that is the software, the ideas, the substance. And you look about the hardware, I've lived and worked in countries where I was protected by Pakistani peacekeepers. I worked in Liberia. I lived inside a Pakistani managed area where Pakistan brought peace and security for many people who have not experienced peace and security. So Pakistan's investment, your sons, your daughters have gone to far places to ensure that others live in peace. And I think many people should be very proud of what Pakistan has done in contributing to global peace and prosperity. And this is what the UN is all about. So Pakistan and the UN, yesterday I gave a speech. I started my speech by quoting Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founding father, when he promised Pakistanis 78 years, 1947, when he said, that the three ingredients for success are hope, courage, and confidence. Those three ingredients are also DNA of what the UN is all about.
Oh my
Wow,
gosh.
wonderful. Which is why I think before I bring that later part of the show, I'm going to ask you, what are the United Nations priorities in Pakistan?
So we don't have priorities, you have priorities. So
We
we're
have
here to help you with your priorities.
Okay.
So we don't come with prescribed priorities. You invite us, your government, the people invite us, and those are the priorities that we respond to. So I'll give you an example. One of the areas that the government had asked us to support is basic social services, education. We still, yesterday I mentioned that Pakistan has done a lot, but the journey of development is not, we're not there yet. It's a long marathon. So we still have 26 million children out of school in Pakistan. What do we do about that? And the government has approached us to work with them. There's still kids who are stunted and have malnutrition. Poverty is still an issue. So all these areas the UN supports, both provincial government and the federal government. Under their leadership, we provide technical support, we provide financing, we provide ideas, and this is what the UN does.
And we would certainly want to thank you as Pakistanis as well. And now very quickly, because this happens to be a very pressing question, and quite a lot of people in our audiences might not actually understand it. So, because imagine that I, as a child, have grown up always witnessing United Nations sessions, General Assembly sessions, Security Council, world leaders coming together, pledging together, to make world a safer place. Unfortunately, in recent times, where you've correctly mentioned that you've averted World War III, alhamdulillah, with all the diplomatic ties, with all the leadership that has actually come in, all the member states. Now, we do still see that, how there's an issue in Gaza, there's a famine, there's a hunger crisis, how there the, the agreement violations which have taken place of the ceasefire. Do you think that the United Nations roles is only to bring on leaders to one page, bring them to sit together and speak about what is hurting them? And it looks like as if most of the time there's no action, but just mere words.
So I said yesterday, our Secretary General in his recent speech said the UN is not only a meeting place, it's a moral compass. So what does that mean? It means that when we come together as nation states, there are things we've agreed that are shared goals: peace, development, human rights. So your question, has this been achieved everywhere? Has this been experienced by the children of Gaza? And the answer is obviously not. So what have we done as the Secretary General? We have made it very clear. The Secretary General called for a ceasefire. The Secretary General has currently with the ceasefire, we have gone huge. The UN is there with partners, local NGOs, providing humanitarian assistance. We have been clear in our values. We have not, you will not hear anything from the Secretary General other than saying what needs to be done, calling for ceasefire, holding people accountable. So these issues the UN has been very clear. But also the UN is governed by member states. We are not an independent entity. Pakistan is one, UN, the Security Council. So essentially what we do is what the Security Council on the peace side. The other things we do, and this is what I want to highlight also here in Pakistan, the UN stands on three legs essentially. We have the peace and security part, which I think many people focus on, which is, I suppose, a valid point. The second part is the socioeconomic development side, which is the SDGs.
True.
And then the final part is the human rights. So those three things interlink, and they're not always perfectly available to everywhere in the world all the time. And when they're not, we try so hard to fix them.
Exactly.
But it's not perfect. So
And while you say so, I'm a witness to that as well, where I've watched multiple documentaries and stories on multiple different channels. where the UN humanitarian aid people have been on ground in Gaza and helping people, and that's the max that they could do. And you know, which you've
And
mentioned.
we lost, let me just
Yes.
say, the UN lost the largest number of staff in our history in Gaza. More than 300 UN staff died.
Naela wa Naela Rajun. And we will certainly make sure that their sacrifice does not go in vain. Very quickly, one last question. That is, how do you see Pakistan's role in mediating the ceasefire in between Israel and Hamas and the Middle Eastern countries, United States President Donald Trump, and it's been 80 years of United Nations. What comes ahead?
So on this, of course, the Pakistan government has been heavily involved. I was watching the leadership provided by Prime Minister Shahbaz. He was there with other world leaders. The Secretary General was there. I think any contribution that brings relief to the people of Gaza is very much welcome. And I think Pakistan's role and Pakistan's leadership in this region will be very important.
And just to wrap this up, how is United Nations Day being celebrated, not just in Pakistan, but across the globe as well?
So for those who are watching in Lahore, one of the things we have tried to do is sometimes we are seen as too bureaucratic. And because we're working...
And too fit too.
But too bureaucratic that we need to engage more, because the first line of the UN Charter is we the people. It's not we the government, it's we the people. So for those who are in Lahore, last year we had an event where we got all the UN agencies out in Islamabad. This Saturday we'll be in Al-Amra in Lahore. So if you're in Lahore, please come.
Oh my God.
And you will get to see what the UN does. And you get to do what these two do.
Yeah.
And being tough and asking questions. And please come hold us accountable. Ask us what we do on behalf of your people, and give us ideas on what we can do more. So please come join us. There'll be more than 20 UN agencies with stalls talking to you, listening to you, and explaining what we do on your behalf.
Oh,
And
that
it's exactly
sounds-
we the people. Thank you so much, Ms.
Thank
Mohamed.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That
you,
sounds
guys.
absolutely
Happy for
fantastic.
everybody
Thank
who's
you
out
very
there.
much.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all of those member states. You know, it's actually brought upon this day onto us, where we're celebrating the 80th birthday of the United Nations as well. Congratulations to each and every member who's actually played a role, each and every individual who's actually played a role. Until next time, look after yourselves. Juma Mubarak. Have a great weekend. Allah Hafiz. Good morning. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Wonderful to have you.
Thank you.